My friends, this is the only time all night that we will ask for your undivided attention because it's really the reason that we've come together and gathered here tonight. We want to give a really warm welcome to a man who has had so much passion for this effort in restoring wild salmon. Let's hear it for the incredible Duke Mosgrove.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind. Very kind. Thank you. Thank you. This is incredible. At our first salmon soiree, we got finished with the auction, and it was just like this. And I turned to the audience and said, "You people have so much money." And here we are again. Thank you. And the salmon, thank you. Near and dear to my heart. I promise not to cry. At least I think I can. Tonight, we're going to reach for the stars. And you are the perfect audience for that. You are kind, you are generous, you're caring, and you're rich. And that's the perfect combination for tonight's activities. Now, you came here to help us restore wild salmon. Well, we have a great opportunity. An amazing opportunity, a unique opportunity. And no one, no individual, no organization has ever done or attempted to do what we are about to do. And the reason why is you. Your generosity. You are the linchpin to saving wild salmon. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what it means to reach for the stars, but let's get a little background information. Let me show you a photo of Tahlequah. Tahlequah is J35 of the southern resident killer whales. She's pushing her baby, dead baby. Baby died right after birth, and she pushed the baby for 17 days. So why'd she do this? These animals are incredibly smart, and she's talking to us. She's telling us, don't let the salmon go extinct, or we're going to go extinct. Now, in 1995, there were 98 of these whales. Guess how many? 73. They're like the canary in the coal mine. They're signaling a coming disaster. Now, 2 years ago, I said to the audience in our first salmon soiree, and I'll say it again, there used to be 16 million salmon, wild salmon that went up the river, the Columbia River, the greatest river for salmon in the world. And guess how many there are now? Around 500,000. The salmon are going extinct. The data does not lie. Now, the salmon didn't do this on their own. Salmon have survived, this is unbelievable, for millions of years on the earth. They're the most adaptable species on the planet. Hardly anybody knows this. So, what are we going to do about it? That's the big question. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix the habitat. Every river on the West Coast, including Canada, has been compromised, it's been damaged, and sometimes the salmon can't even survive. Now let's take a photo of a culvert. These culverts are the passageways to get under the highways and the roads to their spawning grounds. Well, as you can see, there's no salmon going to go up that culvert, and there's thousands of these. In fact, the state of Washington has been ordered, federal court order, to replace 400 of these culverts at a cost of, this is unreal, $3.6 billion. And they have to do it by 2030. In addition, and I've read the report from the state, it's a wonderful report, really well done. It details exactly what needs to be done and how much it's going to cost to fix the rest of the habitat. And this is unreal. This is a huge number, $5.4 billion. Saving salmon is expensive if you're going to do it right. Now, 2 days ago, there was an article in the Seattle Times that highlights exactly what I've been talking about, and that is the government doesn't have the money to do this. And we're not going to raise all that money tonight here. However, I am going to tell you how we'll get the funding when we reach for the stars. Now, in the meantime, there are 5 projects that we've identified that will help restore salmon in the state of Washington. 2 of them are from Trout Unlimited, who's doing incredible work. And Crystal Elliott is here representing, stand up, wherever you are. Thank you, Crystal, for identifying two great projects. And 3 other projects come from regional fisheries enhancement groups. There's about 14 of them in the state. And our friend Jason Lundgren has identified 3 of them that really need immediate help. You know, Jason is here. Stand up just for a minute. There he is. Thank you. So let's talk about a mystery that was solved in regard to salmon. For years, coho salmon have been dying at an alarming rate in Puget Sound. No one has been able to figure out why until 2 scientists, one from the University of Washington, one from Washington State, made this discovery. So take a look.
We're here at Longfellow Creek in West Seattle, and this is one of the first places where 20 years ago we were documenting how many fish were dying when they came back to spawn. We have this chemical soup that washes into these creeks in the fall when it rains, and we know that there are thousands of chemicals in that soup. So what chemicals are killing the coho? Is it 100 chemicals acting all together to kill the fish? Or could it be 1 or 2 chemicals that are just really toxic?
My name's Ed Kaloj, and I pretty much work at the intersection of water, chemicals, and fish. When it rained, we saw a whole bunch of chemicals from the roads in the creeks. So we started collecting water samples and trying to figure out what chemicals were in these creeks when the salmon died. We pretty much figured out that anywhere there's a road and people are driving their car, little bits of tire end up coming off your tire and ending up in the stormwater that flows off that road and even into the urban creek.
When we discovered that it looked like tire wear particles were the source of these chemicals, what we did is we made a whole bunch of tire particles, and then we passed water over those particles as if it was raining and water was flowing over them. And now what happens is that you get chemicals actually dissolving from the tire particle into the water, and it killed the fish.
And that's the time that our group is coming in because we are really good at chemistry. We are the environmental chemists. And we figure out the chemical in there and turn out to be a totally unknown chemical.
The chemical that seems to be really problematic and toxic to these fish is actually a preservative for tires. I hope we can get to a point where we have salmon-safe tires. Tires that are safe for not just humans driving on them, but also the fish and the organisms that are exposed to roadway runoff. I think that's important.
Now, fortunately, there's some good news. While we're waiting for the tire companies to come to the party, there's a big lawsuit right now against them. While we're waiting for them to put a safe chemical on these tires, our friend David Berger, who is often seen cruising through parties like this in his salmon outfit. He's with his director of stewardship partners, and he has developed boxes of rain, he calls them, that trap this chemical. So take a look at just for a second here.
The downspout that's coming down off of I-5 and would normally go right into a storm drain and directly.
You can see where it used
cut
to
it.
go. Yeah,
see where he cut it. And that goes directly untreated into the Ship Canal waterway, which is the Cedar River, Issaquah Creek, and all those urban watersheds that are affected by this chemical 6-PPDQ. And so we just divert it, right? So you just divert that stormwater, and it drops into the 55-gallon drum right here, which is like a rain barrel that you might have at your home. And what's that? The purpose of that is so that there's a lot of sediment materials that come down off the highway. It settles into there, so it's not clogging our boxes of rain. And so once it goes through that, and it's dropping down the heavy sediment, then it's diverted into these two boxes. These are called Gradix boxes. We call them box of rain. So then those results were after 1 year, which are amazing results. 97% of reduction in 6-PPDQ is incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
NOAA, National Marine Fisheries Service, they did a study where they took the stormwater from the elevated highway and they filled it into these totes like this with there was no soil in anything, just the water. And so they put the really polluted right off the highway water here. Then they have another box that's that same highway water, but it's gone through a rain garden. And then another one that's just well water, just like clean water. So they put adult salmon, coho salmon in each one of them. And within hours, the adult salmon died in the polluted runoff. The polluted runoff that went through a rain garden, they survived. And of course, the well water, they survived. So that was the main study that was done by NOAA and Washington State University Extension Program.
So I asked David, I said, David, how many of these boxes of rain do we need? He said 1,000. They're $10,000 each. It's $10 million. Once again, saving salmon isn't cheap. David, would you stand up for a minute? Thank you, David. We will fund as many of these rain boxes tonight as we can. We'll have to wait and see how things go. So far, you're incredible. So, back to my question. What are we going to do about saving and restoring wild salmon? Here's the answer. We are going to do a massive fundraising for private capital. No one has ever done it. No one's even attempted. So along with this fundraising effort comes an awareness campaign, because outside this room, hardly anybody knows salmon are going extinct. But we're going to change that. So we've never done this before. Nobody's ever done this before. So we have to engage someone who is really good at doing this. We found Pyramid Communications, directed by John Hoyt. John has extensive experience in fundraising and in this field and in awareness campaigns. John, would you stand? Thank you. And a special thanks to the woman who found John for us, Erin McCallum. Erin, stand up. So we have this enormous amount of money we need to raise. So the question comes up, why do we have to do this? Well, there is nobody else. If there were, we would join forces with them. And I am convinced, without doing this, the salmon will go extinct in just a matter of years. And the reason why we can do this is you. Once again, you're the linchpin to saving and restoring wild salmon. And I want to thank you. And the salmon, thank you. Now, let me lighten the mood a little bit. and tell you a story that I told 2 years ago at the first Salmon Soirée. So some of you heard this story, but there's a lot of new people here tonight. More than 50% are new. So you remember the hit series Sex and the City? Well, this whole salmon situation could easily be called Salmon Sex in the City. The stars of the hit series were free to mate with whoever they wanted. Well, the salmon would like to do that too. You know, these salmon are not just swimming upstream. They're going up there to have sex. It's like a romantic weekend at the Four Seasons. The lighting in the room has got to be just right. Not too bright, not too dark. Well, the lighting in the stream has got to be just right. The trees on the banks of the river create the shade that helps the bugs to proliferate. So the salmon will have something to eat on the way back down to the ocean. Well, the bed in the Four Seasons got to be just right. Not too hard, not too soft. Just like the bed in the stream. So the female salmon can burrow herself into the gravelly soil and lay her eggs. And the male salmon comes along and fertilizes those eggs, just like the Four Seasons. Now, who would want to deny these salmon to have as much sex as possible? So just another message and another way to look at this. So now, before we go to the paddle raise, I'm going to read a poem I wrote. It's all about restoring salmon. It's a very uplifting poem. It's called Save Them. Save them so the bears will survive. Save them so the bald eagles can thrive. Save them so the whales can stay alive. Who speaks for the salmon when the salmon cannot speak for themselves? Who protects the salmon when the salmon cannot protect themselves? Who saves the salmon when the salmon cannot save themselves? The answer is we. All of we. Save them, for the wild salmon are part of our family. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And the salmon, more importantly, thank you.